I'm happy to announce that I have partnered with a company called BetUS.com, where basically you can place bets and all that good stuff. And as you can see here, you go to this particular landing page here, and if you use my promo code TKT for the Clown Times, you'll get 125% of the sign-up bonus. As you see there as well, and you can, again, use promo code TKT. You get 125% sign-up bonus, and you can win up to you can bet up to $2,500 by clicking this Join Now button right here. So you can see at the bottom, it's bet on the go. You can bet anywhere, anytime on your mobile device. Get your fast payouts, get paid immediately every time, and live betting, which means you can bet during the game, early and best lines. So remember, folks, go to betus.com where the game begins. There was the NBA trade, blockbuster trade that happened after our podcast last week at the trade deadline. And with the trade that we talked about should happen, it did happen. It did happen.
Yeah, you were so concerned that it wouldn't happen.
Right.
And lo and behold, it happened.
Yes, to the point where I was in the car driving. I forgot where the hell I was driving to. But I was like, listen to NBA radio as I do every year for the trade deadline. I'm like, I remember going, they did it. I said, remember, they did it. So basically, Brooklyn to the Brooklyn Nets in a rare trade between division rivals. That's how bad this play is won out. The Nets, yeah, that's how you know it's bad is you made a deal with your division rival, which is the best deal. Brooklyn got Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, 2022 first round pick, and a 2027 first round pick, which is protected, top pick protected, for James Harden and Paul Millsap. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, right.
So Brooklyn, I think in the long term would be better for it because they got two of the first rounders that they gave up to get Harden from Houston, right?
Yeah.
And even though in the NBA, really, draft picks really aren't, it's not like the NFL, which is currency.
True.
The NBA, it's all about star power, right? So it's like players move around a lot. You got a lot of player movement and whatnot. So it's just crazy. It's like, who cares about draft picks? I mean,
exactly.
Boston Celtics.
You're hoping, you're basically hoping that these guys that you draft turn out to be viable for your organization. Because if not, chances are, if you're not in a desirable spot, they're gone after their first contract. So you're absolutely correct. And chances are, it's what, maybe 8 to 10 cities that these guys really want to play in.
Right.
And every place else is, okay, I'll take the contract and take the money. But yeah, if it's not LA, if it's not New York, if it's not Miami, okay, maybe Philly, maybe Boston or Phoenix now.
Milwaukee because they're winning. Than Boston. Yeah, more or less Brooklyn than Boston now because that's
right.
The Northeast in the wintertime. Shit.
Yeah. And a lot of times kids might not want to go there either. So you're hoping that whoever you draft, that the team that you build around them or alongside them is good enough to make them want to stay long enough.
Yeah, right. And so, which is why, like teams like the Charlotte Hornets are on the clock because they start going with LaMelo Ball. So you're on the clock. What are you going to do about Miles Bridges? What are you going to do about these other good young players? You got to show LaMelo Ball that you're willing to build. You're willing to contend. You got Terry Rozier. You got Hayward, the Hayward kid. So he's not a kid anymore, but still.
But yeah, to your point, draft picks and potential isn't currency. Talent is.
Thank you.
Proven talent is.
Yes.
And if it's a guy that's not proven, what is he?
Yeah, and I was going to say earlier, ask the Boston Celtics and Danny Ainge how valuable draft picks are. They hoarded all those draft picks from them fleecing Brooklyn for past his prime Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And what have they done with it? Other than get to the Eastern Conference, game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
So
it just happens to be that unfortunately, guys like LeBron James is just that damn good.
yep.
And then when he finally made his jump over to the West Coast to Los Angeles, that that team was just incapable of finding a way to win when they needed to win.
Right.
So it's not necessarily to say that. Well, I mean, yes, it didn't work because there are no fruits of their labor from that.
Right.
But it got them to a place where a lot of other teams were hoping to be.
Sure.
Hell, my Washington Wizards would hope to have been able to do something like that on a regular basis. Atlanta Hawks would hope to do something like that on a regular basis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of organizations that would wish to do that and still be relevant because of a lot of the talent that they've been capable of drafting.
Yeah.
It just never. It's just unfortunate that there's just certain guys who are just that damn good that you just can't beat them.
It is, and it is what it is there. But what I really want to get to, we saw the introductory press conference of both cats, right? We saw James Harden say.
Well, I saw one of them.
James Harden say he wants to win. He thinks he can win a championship in Philly, which I don't think is ever going to happen. And I'll get into more on that later as why. I'm sure you have thoughts on it too. And Ben Simmons saying that he wasn't in a good mind space, that he's better now, blah, 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 which may or may not be true. But here's a real deal. Here's the underlying issue here. And maybe we're just two grumpy old 40-some-year-old men who've been seeing the battles and going through stuff. And seeing all these, to quote an older person, whippersnappers, going through it and how they choose to go through it. To me, there's something to be said about going through adversity and persevering through adversity. I mean, we see it in all sport. I mean, we see what's going on in the NFL with Kyler Murray bitching about being made to be the scapegoat. Bro, you're the #1 overall pick and you're a quarterback. This shit happens at the highest level. The quarterbacks get the most credit and the most blame.
Yeah.
And the best one, the great ones take it in stride. They don't bitch about it. They don't scrub all references to the current team off of Instagram for whatever fucking reason. That's childish. Okay.
Very.
And you don't also back when we were taught not to quit, obviously, by our dads, parents, whoever. So if you're James Harden, and I guess I get one out of Houston because Houston didn't do what they needed to do around him. They had a bunch of tomato cans around him. And he's like, I'm not going to win anything here. But I still don't like how I went about it. I don't like the fact that he got fat and out of shape and quit.
Yeah.
I did not like that about him. He could have demanded a trade and have more dignity about himself. And then he gets to Brooklyn. Yeah, sure, Kyrie Irving's an idiot. He didn't sacrifice like the other two guys sacrificed, got the vaccine. We know that he's an idiot. And I think that Kyrie's going to be up out of there too at the end of the year.
Probably.
I think Brooklyn's going to be like, enough of this shit. You're gone. Okay. So, and taking time off on his own and not telling anybody. But when Kevin Durant's injured, okay, he can't help that. But if you're that guy, if you're James Harden, if you're the superstar, a superstar in the league, you should take that on as a challenge. This is a place where you want to be.
You should.
Your superstar is hurt. Your big dog is hurt. He's coming back. And you're going to mean to tell me a team with James Harden and don't even mention Kyrie Irving for a minute. Just Harden and Kevin Durant. You don't think that there are other teams that there are bunch of teams in the Eastern Conference are better than those two when they're both right?
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
I agree with you.
Aside from Milwaukee, maybe Miami. That's why I said maybe. That's why I said maybe Miami. But really,
even Milwaukee. Well,
that's debatable. But the point is, you see my point. The East is so wide open. No one in the East, outside of maybe those two squads, could see a healthy Brooklyn Nets team with James Harden and Kevin Durant. I'm sorry.
No. The only team that beats that team is them.
Right.
And that was the reason why I was so hesitant, or not hesitant, but so critical of that loss, when everyone kept saying that James Harden, oh, he wasn't 100%. I'm like, okay, we've seen James Harden 100% and still lose in situations like that. Right. I need to see him win in a situation like that to prove me wrong, to let me know that him as a player, he's capable of winning. And all we've seen him do more crying and whining and getting out of situations more than we've seen him win. Now, to your point with Houston, he got surrounded by tomato cans, but you know why? Because he chased Chris Paul out of Houston.
Yes, he did.
You know what I'm saying? He chased Chris Paul, and then so of course it's disheartening that he cried himself out of Houston to go to Brooklyn, but he gets to Brooklyn and now he's not happy in Brooklyn. But those were the guys he wanted to play with.
That's right.
They were there before he got there.
Yep, that's right. And again, I get him being frustrated with Kyrie Irving not sacrificing, getting the vaccine, and only playing half the game. I get that.
You didn't know that before you got there?
I know. You should have known that about Kyrie's being an enigmatic guy anyway, a mercurial guy anyway. But even Kevin Durant knew that. He was willing to play with them. So
yeah.
And he never cried about, complaining about when he took on Milwaukee 1-5 in the Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals last year. He didn't cry about it. So that's why I say it's disappointing to see a superstar and a grown-ass man at that quit when it's got tough. I mean, that's why I said that, I won't go as far as Rob Parker did on the Odd Couple and called him a fraud, but I would say that he's pretty damn disappointing. Harden is very damn disappointing. I mean, to me, if you want to be that guy, if you think you're that guy, and the team like Brooklyn, when your superstar is out injured, he's coming back.
Yeah.
You do the damn thing. If you do the damn thing by yourself with Kyrie's wishy-washy ass on the side and KD getting back from injury, Joe Harris, the sharpshooter, out for the year with ankle injury. I mean, come on. It's not like the couple was very sad. Patty Mills. Yeah. But then so he cried his way out of Brooklyn. He's in Philly, and they're not winning the title. I mean, if he thinks this is bad, if Joel Embiid, he's playing at a all high level, right? But exactly, you made the expression. I mean, about Joel Embiid's health. So I suppose he gets hurt in his customary time. What are you going to do then? You're going to try and run Doc Rivers out of town and get back Mike D'Antoni as your coach again? I mean, seriously, it's been bandied about. I mean, what are you going to do? The pressures are all on this cat now. It's like if he cries his way through whatever in Philly, I ain't got no time. I really don't.
My thing is, who else is going to want to play with him after this, right?
Right.
But to your point, we've only seen him in Houston. So he was at the point where in Houston, where we saw the pressure all on him, and he's not that guy anymore. He's not the same guy that we saw in Houston. He's older. He's of course been hampered with injuries since that time period. Right. And he's more of a malcontent. And you add those three combinations together, you're getting this James Harden. Now, one of the issues, of course, that Philadelphia has been dealing with, especially in recent seasons, is having that second scorer alongside Joel Embiid. Now you got that in James Harden. Yeah. And one of the benefits that they're going to have, and hopefully that other guys will be capable of eating because of it, is that in the league, James Harden and Joel Embiid are the most double team per possession guys in the league. So if they can get play from other guys on the Sixers squad and get scoring that way, there's a chance that they'll be capable of competing. But my thing is whether or not James Harden will be that guy that beats himself yet again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I can imagine that pick and roll if everything's right, health wise and whatnot. That pick and roll with Harden and Embiid.
Yeah.
With Tobias Harris on the side, and they got to keep the young studs. So they're good now, but I think in the long run, Brooklyn benefits because with Brooklyn, you get Andre Drummond, who's the big body they desperately needed to protect the rim and rebound. He's a walking double-double.
Yeah.
Even in a non-starting role. And then you have, of course, Simmons with the vision. He doesn't have to do it all when Kyrie's on the court and when KD gets back healthy. I mean, he's the point forward, right?
Yeah.
And let everybody else work off the ball. And then you have Seth Curry, which I think is the most important part of that trade.
That is the biggest part of that trade. Another shooter.
The floor. Huge gift for Brooklyn.
I'll say this. He's not a better scorer than James Harden.
Right.
But I might damn well say he's a better shooter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that's going to debate me on this, and I might even lose those debates. So what? I don't care. I just know one thing. That dude last name is Curry.
Yeah.
Mama say he can shoot. I'm going to say he can shoot.
Fine, mama.
So, and we've seen that family is capable of shooting. So, and then with Ben Simmons, he doesn't necessarily have to focus on scoring as much.
Right.
That pressure's taken off of him. At this point, he's probably the third or fourth option on that team right now. He can focus on still being a defender, but and of course, even being a perimeter defender for the Nets. And the thing, God, that makes the situation that much more interesting, of course, is you talk about who wins in the long run.
Yeah.
I'll say less pressure is on the Brooklyn Nets because of the fact that a lot of those guys on that team have won titles elsewhere. Right. Yes, they would love to win one in Brooklyn, but they don't have that. We got to do this because we've never done it before. Pressure like the guys on the Sixers have.
Correct.
And that's going to be interesting to see whether or not how they deal with it, especially as they get closer to playoff time.
Right, and that's a good point. This NBA plus is going to be great. And now, I think Brooklyn's going to go on a little run. I don't know when KD's coming back. I think he's out for another 2 weeks, and it's not even the All-Star break yet. So, and they played over. It's more. This season's more than halfway over. They played. I think most teams played them over 55 games. They're in 60 games already.
Yeah, so, I mean, technically, All-Star break is here. It's this weekend. So we had it.
Yeah. So even we mentioned like James Harden and KD, no one could see in the East could see them. I'd say with healthy KD and with Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, whether it's a bench off the bench role or just being the cleanup man, rim protector, being a double guy that he's been his whole entire career in a non-strong role. With Blake Griffin back in the line, with Blake Griffin getting some love, Patty Mills and Seth Curry draining threes, both those cats. Yeah. The space, the floor opens up for Ben Simmons to create and KD to create and Kyrie to create whenever he's right mentally.
Yeah.
I still stand by the fact that no one in the East could see them.
It's going to be interesting, right? Because
maybe
right
Milwaukee,
now,
that's it. Maybe Milwaukee, that's it.
Milwaukee with the addition of Serge Ibaka. Hopefully he becomes a rim protector for that team who has been struggling with team blocks so far this season. So if he can come in and become that defender that they need, they'll go ahead and have the capabilities of beating that team. DeMar DeRozan has been playing out of his mind.
Chicago's a big time surprise because of him.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, of course, he wanted to go to LA and LA didn't want him. Shame on you, right?
I know, right?
Same thing, I think, with Brooklyn, that he wanted to go there too. It was either Brooklyn or no, he wanted to go to the Knicks, and the Knicks didn't want him. So he's pleasant surprise there for the Bulls, and he's been doing this without Zach LaVine. So if they can get LaVine back and healthy with the way that DeMar has been looking right now, they can become dangerous as well. So I'm like you said, this NBA playoffs seems as though it's going to be a very interesting one, especially with the West as tightly knit as it is right now.
Yeah. And
even though the East is a little bit more spaced out, you start talking about that top half of the East.
it's going to be a battle to see who ends up being the Eastern Conference representative in the NBA Finals.
And that's going to be fun because the East is wide open.
Yeah.
It's so damn wide open. I mean, the West is top heavy as hell. Between three squads, Phoenix, Golden State, and Memphis. But the East, they got a bunch of damn good teams, not great teams, but damn good teams.
Yeah.
It's a lot of surprises in Chicago, in Cleveland especially. But
Cleveland.
But you think Brooklyn would like to have Jared Allen back and Karis LeVert back? But
that's why I said that was one of the dumbest things that team could have done, because they had a lot of young developing talent that they could have had play along KD that probably would have taken a lot of that pressure off them, with them not having to trade for Kyrie and not having to trade for James Harden. Right. So, but they don't get Ben Simmons in that situation, and they probably don't get a lot of the guys that's currently on their roster. So yes, it would be great to have those younger players. But if they don't win, they currently have. So yeah, backtrack to what I said earlier. No, there's still a little bit of pressure on Brooklyn, because if they don't win what they currently have, it's still the would have, could have, should have what they had with the young talent before they got rid of them.
Right.